Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Right now, hit that thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if you guys appreciate the content. I try to add value with these videos, and I'm trying not to give you guys a lot of fluff or really anything you can't actually take any action on. So I try to put out these videos around content that is meaningful, that you can actually potentially make money on, or hedge on, or whatever you're doing within the markets. All right, let's get right into it. So NASDAQ futures. So I've actually flipped long on the triple Qs, and again, you don't have to stay. This is more of a day trade slash a couple day trade. But the reason why I flip long is the futures. You've got the support range right here. You can see it. This little cluster right here on the NASDAQ futures, and we've got a reaction right here at this 89.65 or whatever, and then a one right here 89.70 or 89.20 or 25. So kind of a range, and we dipped right down below into that range, and we've since popped back up and recovered. So this could mean the next kind of a rally, and so the profit ranges that we've got are going to be you've got a couple levels. You've obviously have this was a bear flag, and you came down, you flagged out, and then you came back down. That's pretty much the major target right there. So that might be the end of the sell-off. Let's look at Qs for most of the people, and this is what the mechanism that I trade is Q. Qs, I have it marked out right here at this 218. Let's just call it 218 flat. And I had that marked out, and I noticed that this was flagging. Here's the flagpole line that I drew right there, and so you could say the measured target on this could actually be all the way down here, which makes sense. But I think we get a little bounce maybe before we make this move. So ultimately, medium term, I think we're going lower. Short term, I think we could potentially go have a little bounce, a little relief rally. It's been a really nasty sell-off from the highs. Here's the highs, and we're down. The sell-off was 8%, almost to correction territory. 10%, I believe, is correction, and pretty sharp too, with a huge gap down as well. So so where does it go? Well, we could easily gap fill. Okay, we could come back in and gap fill, and that might take a little while. We run up and tag this gap right there. So maybe we do that, and that would be a great opportunity to get short. Anything you can get up around this trend line right here, I will be shorting anywhere around there. Looking for the next leg down, probably down here to this trend line down around 206. So that's the Qs. Now, if we bounce, we could. There's several levels basically. I marked this one out, but we basically have. You basically have a level around 222, and then you've got the gap at 224. For me, on the long side, I think I would definitely sell my long position if we ran up into this 224.50. It's just too close to this trend line where I'm looking to short, that I think that's a great area to kind of front run any kind of move and just take profit. So I'm looking to do that as of right now. I am long this position. And I said in a comment I was going to cover the shorts or below the low of that level that I put out, but you have to kind of play it by ear as well. Markets can easily undercut. Just because you have a little tiny level doesn't mean that that's exactly where it's going to fall. So I saw that. I noticed that we did a small little undercut and then instantly held support and started to run higher. So I basically am long and have held that long position, and so far that's working out. It's only a half position. I have 200 shares on triple Qs, so it's nothing huge, but it is working out so far. So let's look at some other things, get some trade ideas here. Microsoft, I didn't point this out, but we've got this is an island reversal top on the daily chart. So the way you want to play these is, now that there's an island reversal, that is a kind of a short sell signal basically, and typically you want to put a stop right above the the gap right there. So your stop would be, somewhere right above there. But I think it's prudent to maybe go a little bit higher. You've got this breakdown candle right here. I'd put my stop right above that breakdown candle. 184.26 looks like a good area for a stop. And that would be from where it's at right now. That's a 5% move up, and with the potential to run down to the bottom of the channel of a 26% move down. So pretty good risk reward ratio there, and that's how I play that one. Apple's below this trend line support. I started to mark this out to see if this is a valid trend line. We've got this maybe a megaphone or a descending triangle, and it's we kind of came down below support. We're starting to pop back up. If it can recover this, then that's pretty bullish, and we should see probably a gap fill. You got a gap right here, and people love to buy Apple on the dip, so I could easily see if it can recover support right here at this 296.20, then you could easily see Apple run up and do a gap fill and maybe even overshoot, but probably at least gap fill. So that could be a trade to gap fill there. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon's setting up for a potential island reversal, kind of an island cluster reversal. It might want to chop around a little bit. Maybe it gap fills here, and then at some point maybe there's a gap down, and that would put in the island top right there. So keep an eye on that. Besides that, I'm not going to cover Amazon too much. KHC, very close to support. I have support marked out at this 26 range. It seems like it's right about there. You can see it held it right here, and then we came down. It was underneath that level, and then we ramped up, came back down and tagged it. It held the support, and now we're coming back down into it. So if they want to, they might front run this. If the dip buyers are going to buy this, they might actually try to buy it before it hits 26. That would be pretty bullish. So look for that. If that, if we hold within this range, maybe we have one more tiny little leg down, and then the buyers step in. I could easily see this thing gapping just a slightly lower, down around the 26, 26.12 or 26.15, something like that. And on that day that it gaps lower and opens, it would instantly ramp higher. I could see that playing out, so keep an eye on that. I've got this UFS one. This one hasn't been working out for me so far. But this is a longer term kind of dividend play that you can look at. And what do we have here? Well, this is a weekly chart. This thing goes, you can see we go back. This thing held support for, going back to 1968. And then the only time it really had a big crash in the stock was the Great Recession right here. And since then, it's, kind of popped back up and been within this kind of sideways trading range. The trend right here, this is the longer term trend line, but you can see it kind of undercuts it sometimes right there. So that's what this could be. This could be an undercut. And you also have this longer term sideways plateau, this trend line right here that's horizontal support. So for this thing to undercut slightly is kind of expected. I can see this thing kind of holding right in this area and then starting to move higher. So far it's not been working, but I'm not too worried about it. We're going to let this thing, let it go a little bit. I'll keep an eye on this, but I am long this. I just bought this. It pays like a 5 or 6% dividend. It's just something, I add to dividend positions that can continue to pay me. Let's see, USAC. I did buy this one. Oh, this one's actually not looking good now that I see this chart. I bought it yesterday. Very, very, very small position, spec position. This is a spec play, so it's it doesn't hurt me too bad. But I did buy this position, and I was looking at it to come down and tag this support. So if we don't hold here, and if we can't recover this trend line that I have, then I'll probably exit the position. But you can see this downward sloping trend line. You have the breakout, and then this to me looks like a back test. So we should hold right here. It shouldn't get much lower than where we're at, and I'd expect to see probably to close the day above this 1495 range. And if that happens, maybe I'll add to it and expect this thing to start to move higher. Let's look at gold. I did actually just sell my Barrick Gold position, and I'm looking to buy it back, but I sold it. I sold it yesterday as well. I've kind of traded it a little bit the last couple days because I feel like we're kind of due for a pullback. So yesterday when we ramped higher, I sold that on that initial ramp, and then we kind of came down, and towards the end of the day, I bought it back. Today, I day traded it basically, but ended up selling it, making 10 cents on it. I do have a sizable position on this, so I don't want to give a lot of these profits back that I've already made. This ramp right here that we just had was roughly 22%. So you can see that it can give a little bit back and still stay constructive. I suspect you can see where I'd like to buy it back. We've got this gap higher. I suspect we get it right in there around this 2080. Call it maybe 2080. It might undercut just slightly. That'd be a good spot. If it breaks that, then you really don't have clean support until you can see we had this peak right here, but there was really no reaction at that peak. So maybe maybe it comes all the way back to this $20 range and then finds support. And if it doesn't do that, then I'd look at this $19 range as your next level of support. So we'll just keep an eye on that and see what that wants to do. Now, keep in mind that this stock is in a bull market, and gold is in a bull market. So you don't want to underestimate the power of what this bull market might mean. This could easily just be kind of a quick pullback. You can see here on gold, maybe we pull back down to this 1612, and that would make a lot of sense for keeping us in the bull market intact. Make a quick pull down to 1612 and then start to move higher. I wouldn't expect such a vertical move. It's not healthy to see complete vertical moves. You want to see it just kind of a more steady slope up. And the one miner that I do like a lot is this AEM and Agnico Eagle. I bought this thing right down here as we hit support. It had a big miss on earnings, so it fell and sold off, and it just ran right into pretty solid support, and that's exactly where I bought it. And so far, it's been up from where I bought it. It's up at the high. It was up almost 11.5%, so pretty solid. I did sell it right here at this trend line, and then the next day I bought it right back as it came back down, and as it ramped above that resistance and then came back down into it, it held as support. And so far that's been holding as support. You can see it's moved up, kind of came back down, tagged it, moved up. It keeps just running into this, building this support range. So I think what this wants to do is just, it's consolidating, and I'd say the highest probability is it's going to do a gap fill up to 57.50. So it's kind of what I'm looking for on that one. Silver, sold my silver position as well. We broke trendline support, and I sold it right here at at this peak because we ran into this resistance. If I roll it out right there, there's your resistance 1835. I'm sorry. Where am I getting this resistance from? Might have to roll back a little bit more. Let's look at the weekly here. Yeah, right. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so here's the trend line right here. And you can see that this was support way back here in 2013. And then right here, it was resistance in January 2015. And then, resistance again and again. So we ran right into that and right there at 1770. So I sold that at resistance. And then when you roll out and look at the hourly, you can see we're in this up channel. Well, that broke with a gap down today. and it's been selling off. So where am I looking to buy this back? Because I am interested in owning some silver because gold is in a bull market. I do want to have some beta with silver. I'm not going into the silver miners. I'm really more just looking to own some of the base metal, and I do that through this SLV. So I'd like to buy this back. At this point, a full back test of this flag would be nice if we can get that. You can see, but we do have support right about here. That looks like about support right about there. So that's probably where I'll step in. If it wants to run down to this 1666, I'll probably step in and start adding to the position right there, buying it. And then I would add as on a back test of this flag. Now the flag's not that solid. You don't have that many data points. You've got a reaction high here, reaction here, reaction here. So I'd say I like this entry right here, 1666. And you also have a gap entry. So you could easily want a gap fill, which would be 1661, but I'm going to step in at 1666 right there. Let's look at the dollar. Dollar was peaking, and now it's starting to sell off pretty rapidly, actually. So we'll see. The dollar's been a tricky one, really. You've got this channel here, and it undercuts it. It's not the cleanest channel. You could, maybe you could draw it like that. There's a lot of different ways you could draw it, but just to cover kind of the general range, it's been in this up channel. We dipped below it. We then recovered that, and we started to, come back down. So if I had it, marked like that, then we're basically right there at support. This could go either way. But the thing that's crazy is that the dollar has been moving higher, and gold has been just so strong. Gold has just been moving higher. The miners have been exploding. And I guess what the market is anticipating, if we want to talk fundamentals for a second, is they're anticipating a Fed rate cut. I don't think we're going to get the Fed rate cut. I think the Fed's going to hold. And most likely what that'll do is probably create that next leg down in the market. When we get the market might want to try to chop around and hold some sort of support here. And then, because this is all based off of, right now they're saying it's the coronavirus, but really it's just fun. It's just the technicals. It was just set up to sell off. It was extremely overbought. Right here, we were just way overbought. And it was just set up for a sell-off. So, the trend is broken. This uptrend is broken in the Qs. So now, for me, when you break an uptrend, that's when I flip to kind of sell the rip. The sell the rip mentality. So right now, what I'm looking for is any kind of bounce that we get higher. I'm looking to enter short, and that's I think. Fundamentals will probably get some sort of little bounce, and then the Fed's going to come out and say we're not going to cut rates. The market's not going to force us into more cuts, and then then they'll sell off a lot more. The Fed will cut rates. They're just not going to do it on a little fall like this. They're going to wait till the market starts to really roll over, and then they'll come in and panic and cut rates probably back down to zero, and start to initiate more quantitative easing. That's kind of the game plan. There's really nothing else they can do. So unless the market's going to go up forever, or there's actual real economic strength, and that gives the Fed a window to raise rates again, then they're going to cut rates and they're going to do QE when the market falls. So all right, guys, that's it for the video. Leave a stock symbol down below on a stock that you guys are currently looking at. I'm kind of interested in getting a few more trade ideas. So let me know if there's a stock that I should look at, and just leave that in the comments below. Short or long, I suppose. It doesn't really matter. I'm more interested in short trades. And that just becomes, that comes down to kind of the bigger picture. I use the SPY as my big picture, giving me, where I think the next big trend is. And I see the market heading down. Of course, that comes from the bigger picture charts, like the monthly charts. And you can see here's your decade-long bull market. Here's your break of trend in that decade-long bull market, and here's your back test. Look at these nice wick candles, complete rejections. See those up there? Long wicks. So it overshot that resistance, and it's just, you know, last month completely came down, and this month it's coming down. So monthlies don't look good. The weeklies don't look good. Everything tells me that this market's heading lower, bigger picture. Even though it might go higher in the short term, I think medium to long term, we're probably heading down to these levels down here around 211 to 187. So that's how I'm trading it until the SPY can recover this trend line here and start to move higher and hold. I'm going to be looking for, you know, swing short opportunities to catch the next bear market. All right, guys. So again, leave the comment below any stock symbol that you guys are looking at or anything that looks like an interesting setup, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.